I'm so happy to be speaking to you through this Shalom Can Care website. As a friend of Shalom, as a doctor for Shalom, and having even prayed for Shalom for a long time, I am so happy that God gave me an opportunity to meet Shalom and get to know her well. You know, when I came to know Shalom, she had already had this disease and she was going through a lot of pain. She was going through a lot of suffering, especially in her breathing, because she had fluid collection and the growth that was there. But what was amazing was that she never complained about her pain, and she never had any murmuring, and her face was always shining. Whenever I asked her, "How are you feeling, Shalom?" she would say, "I'm fine, I'm all right." And she would never even say, "Okay, last night I couldn't sleep," or when I checked with the parents, both of them said, "Oh, she was not sleeping properly." She never had any complaint. That was amazing. And I could see that that was purely because she had a strong faith in Jesus Christ. And the thing that touched me maximum was the Sunday before her final day of life in this earth. She insisted that she would come for a prayer meeting that we have here. She could hardly walk and she had to be brought on a wheelchair. And amazingly, she came and stayed throughout the prayer and attended with full grace. And as I walked out and I met Shalom and said, "How are you, Shalom?" She said, "I'm fine. Jesus is with me." So she had that great assurance that God was with her. How could we face suffering? Many times I've questioned myself, what does God allow suffering? Why does it happen to us? God does not allow suffering to anyone, or is it part of our life? Yes, when we are in this earth, suffering is a part of our life. It's only for sanctification, purifying us. You know, pain is a part that God has given in our body. If you don't have pain, the reason for leprosy is that the lepra bacilli kills the pain fibers. So if you don't have pain, you start having leprosy. So if you have pain and when you go through suffering, that's a time when we are sanctified, purified. Our leprosy goes from our life. And that was a great experience for Shalom, and Shalom was being slowly changed into a great personality. The striking nature of Shalom was her name itself. She was a very peaceful person. She was very gentle, she was very humble, very unassuming, and not complaining. And that peace would always shine through her eyes. She always had a smile at all juncture. Anytime you meet her, she had a beautiful smile, which only God could put on her face. You know, face is the reflection of our heart. It's a reflection of our life. And she had that till the end. And Shalom, when she faced all this treatment, usually when I see a lot of patients with cancer problems and terminally ill and pain and suffering, and I also go to many pain and palliative center, what I have seen is that people who go through radiation, people who go through chemotherapy, their face become very dark, and they always complain, and they have always lot more problems than other people. And you have to give strong sedatives and you have to give strong painkillers to keep them happy. But in Shalom's case, it was so easy to be with her because the pain relief was God Himself, Jesus Himself. God gave her that peace and that relief of pain that she enjoyed, that she, even though she was passing through fire, she never felt it. Like Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they were in the fire, and people who came to throw them into the fire, they got burned. But these three children of God never felt the fire, the heat, because the Son of God, Jesus, was there with them. So in this particular experience that I had with Shalom, I came to realize that when Christ is with you, like how it was in Shalom's life, that the pain and suffering that you go through, it never hits your body, it never hits your mind. She was always more concerned about other people than herself. She was always concerned about how we were, and she would be happy mixing up with my daughters and speaking to them, even though she's going through so much of a problem in her life. She would say, "How was your exam? What's happening? How are you keeping?" She was so concerned about other people around. In fact, if I would think if anybody else in her position would have been always being saying this is what happened and this is what's happening about the treatment, about future. And finally, when we said, "Shalom, how are you feeling? Should we get more investigations and treatment done? And she was very clear that Jesus has healed her and Jesus is with her. That great faith, without thinking of any negativity, totally to be positive and having faith in Jesus, was a great striking thing about Shalom. And nothing could defeat her. She had this never give up philosophy in her mind, because Jesus was her author and perfecter of her faith. And I'm so happy that she is with God, and I'm so happy that I'm absolutely sure that God has blessed her, because in our life the greatest assurance is that we are with God. And the final day when she was in the Jubilee Mission Hospital, when I went over there and she was going through a tough time, her mother and her brother and sister were outside as a family together. She had such bonding with the family. The whole family was involved in it. And they were so strong. Actually, the faith that Shalom has is being given largely due to the support they had from the family. And I was so happy to see that they were together. And after the thing, when I went to their house, all that I felt was, if I was in their position, in GT's position or Sheena's position, I would have been shattered, I would have been touched or broken. But they were so strong, they were so strong. There was no change in their attitude. They faced it with a smile, they could meet everyone, and this whole event did not touch their life outside. I'm sure inside they were going through so much of pain. I'm sure any human being would have been upset. How could they face it so gladly? Looking back, I can say that is purely the love of God, and that's purely because they trusted and they had faith. And they also knew that Shalom had the same faith. And that faith is a faith of eternity, that the everlasting arm of Jesus is with them. And Shalom, even though has paused from working in this world, but we are going to meet her in the other world. And then she is there with Jesus. That's a great assurance. And we have eternity with Him. So we are not losing Shalom. We are not going to miss Shalom, because we are going to be with her. And I'm sure all the people who are going to be blessed by this website and by the program and the things, cancer care program that's going to happen, are going to be touched by the love of God. And the same faith that was passing through her life, and the same peace of God cannot be bought in a supermarket. It's not available outside. It's not available on the internet. You don't get it from watching movies. Only God can give. Jesus, who is the Prince of Peace, may He grant your life with that peace, Shalom, that you will be having an eternal peace. Whatever problems you are going through, whatever sickness, whatever pain you are going through, be blessed by that same peace that Shalom had, the peace that passeth all understanding. May God bless you. Shalom. Shalom.